What's up, Interesting Enough family? Nolan here, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning into us every single week as we give you the best content possible. However, I do have to ask you for one more thing. Come be a part of our family, and not just the Interesting Enough family, the Anchor family, and record a podcast yourself. It's so easy to do. Let me explain. First off, it's completely free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. As a matter of fact, I'm doing it right now. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right, real money. Real money. It's everything you need to make a podcast, and it's all in one place. All you got to do is just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, welcome to Interesting Enough. We got a special episode for you guys. If you were tuning in last week, we told you we were going to have some big things coming up. Today we got a special guest as well as a special episode surrounding my favorite artist, J. Cole. So we'll break down the album here, but without further ado, obviously, I'm Nolan. We have Trey here, of course. Thank you guys for tuning in every week. Like and subscribe. But today we got a special guest. We got our actual first ever guest, Trey. First guest in a long time. We've been trying to pick and choose who we're going to get to be our guest. Obviously, we got a special episode, so a special episode deserves a special guest. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend, my brother, Hakeem Douglas. Thank you for joining us, man. I'm glad for you to be here and take the time.
What's going on?
What's going on, man?
I'm glad to join the Anchor family and the Interesting Enough family, man. It's been a pleasure. Let's get to business.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for joining us, man. Obviously, up and early, getting to it. So I know a few of us, we've talked off air. It's been a week now since the J. Cole album dropped. All of us are J. Cole fans, respectively. So I wanted to kind of just kick this thing off with just your general thoughts on the album. And Hakeem, you're the guest. I'll kick it to you first. Just your general thoughts on the album, maybe what you thought about originally, off our first listen. And then, now you've got a week removed. You've probably listened to it a few times. Your regular life, your work week, has it changed? And then I'm interested to see your opinion. And then Trey, of course, Trey, you're not skating off with some of the comments you've made in the past few weeks. So we'll get to you shortly. But since we got a guest, I'll go to the guest first. So Hakeem, give it to me.
This album, the off season, I just believe it's a great album. It's a great album. I want to start the preface by saying that Nolan, huge J. Cole fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a great album, but it's not my number one. It's not my number two. It's a top three, and it's not 1 and 2. So I think it was a great album. I'm glad he added features. I think I'm standing what I said off air. Lil Baby had the best verse. I stand on that.
Mm-hmm.
People might disagree. I mean, it's my opinion. But yeah, I think it's a good album. I think it's a great album. My daily life hasn't changed. I still put Baby on, and Rod Rich on when I'm in the gym, and
let me ask you a quick question. When you say it's a great album, do you mean it's just an overall great album, comparably to other albums, or just a great album for J. Cole?
No, I think it's a great album compared to other albums. I don't think it's a great album it's compared to what J. Cole. I think it's better than his last products that he's been dropping. I think it's better than KOD and For Your Eyes. But I don't think it's it's past. I definitely don't think it's past Born Center. And it's 2014 is like 1A is 2014 Fort Hill Drive, and then number 2 and 1B is Coloring Book, and I don't think nothing's passing that for me. So yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there, obviously. So
because I got a few things.
So the first thing I want to say is, obviously, it's hard for me to be biased, but I know, Hakeem, when we first talked about the album, you were unsure. So what changed from then till now? Is it just simply you just got a few more listens in? Is it just the lyrics hit you different better, the beats? Is it the reaction of other people as well that kind of made you, let me go back and check it? What kind of gives you that there?
Well, I try to remove myself from like listening to other people's reactions because J. Cole is he's not like this isn't Cole World J. Cole like sideline story when he's like under the radar. J. Cole like he sneezes, he's on House of Highlights. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a mega star. So like I try.
Yeah, I've seen his that week layup. I've seen that all week. So like, I'm good on seeing that layup. I'm like,
my man really made a free throw and they put him on. I'm like, yo, what is going on, man? But his best highlight was his missed dunk on the All-Star game. Like I forget, like, but like so I try to remove myself from like listening to like the critics. But I did go through. And I was listening. I was like, "Oh, okay, he's spitting a little fire here." I'm like, "Okay." And then I wanted to go back, and I was listening to For Your Eyes. I want to make sure, like, I'm not just talking on my neck. I'm like, "Okay, yeah." The 3 songs that I like on here, like, a little slower song, slower vibe. And I go back to KOD. I'm like, okay, maybe 3-4 songs that I can vibe with. And this one, I said, like, there's more songs that I can vibe with. If we're talking about overall albums. It's like kind of like the Drake thing, like Drake drops a great product and you compare it to other Drake products. You're not comparing it to what other people are dropping.
Right.
You're not comparing it to NBA Youngboy. You're comparing it to Drake. So it's the same thing. I had to remove myself and say, okay, like what is Cole dropping compared to other people's products? And I thought Cole, like his product compared to other people's is great. Compared to his other products is good. Answer your question what I was trying to say?
I get it. I get it. Go ahead, Trey.
Mean, I don't know if that's like I said. I'm willing to accept that people think that 2014 Forest Hill Drive is a great album. My personal opinion.
wait, hold on. Okay, Trey, real quick. Let me just get this thoughts off my chest about this album before we go down this rabbit hole that I already see it happening. Before you even go down this rabbit hole. So I just want to stick. I just want to stick on the overall this album.
You're right. Let me focus real quick.
Yeah,
let me focus.
Go ahead.
Let me recenter. Okay, you're right. Thank you. We're gonna get to that soon, but let me focus. This album, I thought it was a pretty good album. I thought it had like. You texted me earlier when it first came out, and you said it sounds like a mixtape, like it has mixtape vibes.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of feeling I had. Like it had a lot of cohesion, but like the production wise, I mean, even though it was good production, it wasn't quite album production. And what I mean by that, you didn't have like 2 or 3 singles that I was like, oh yeah, these are gonna pop off, and these are gonna be the songs of the summer or the songs of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see this album winning a Grammy. It didn't have that kind of production behind it, but I don't think it was meant to.
Yeah.
I think it's just like this is literally kind of his off season. Like he's just kind of practicing, getting ready for whenever his real album drops. And I know I didn't watch the documentary, but I heard from people who did watch the documentary, and he said he has like 2 albums coming up, I think.
Yeah,
coming up in the future. So I think this was just kind of like a preliminary kind of warm up album. Like, hey, get ready. Then I'm going to drop the real stuff. So I liked it. The only question I have is for you, Nolan, because I know you're a huge J. Cole fan. I know he's probably your favorite artist, if not one of your top 3. Does this album, does it have like longevity to you? Like, will you be listening to this 5 years from now and having the same feelings? Like, oh man, this is great. It's really hitting my life right now. Or do you think it's just kind of, a album you listen to for that one summer, then you kind of forget about it?
No. So my overall thoughts to it is, I'm gonna always be listening to this album. So. Here's my thing. So what I told both of you guys, obviously at different points, this album's got mixtape vibes. So I think that this album for me is something that is, generally speaking, not for everyone. So I think if you became a J. Cole fan in his mixtape days, so like, the warm up, Friday Night Lights, that type of vibe, this reminds me of that type of vibe. So like I became a fan of J. Cole from this mixtape vibes before any studio albums. Now, if you became a fan of J. Cole during studio album times, it's a little bit different vibe. So when you hear this, you're kind of going to be like a little thrown off. You're like, okay, this is cool. But like, Hakeem, you and I have talked about this. Like the reason I love Born Sinner so much, even more than 2014 Forest Hills Drive, is because I like J. Cole talking his talk. Like that's my favorite, if alter ego J. Cole, if you will. Like I like when he's just, I like all the stuff that the feel good and all that. Don't get me wrong with 2014. But I like when he's talking his talk, like really in his bag rapping. Per se, and the off season gives me that type of vibes. When you get some of the songs like Punching the Clock, some of those things, like when you just like, a few of the songs in here are just basically, for lack of a better term, just some freestyles. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I like those type of vibes. So for me, liking when he's just talking to talk and rapping, all of my favorite rappers, I say the same thing. I like when Drake gets in his bag like that. I like when Rick Ross gets in his bag like that. As much as I love them making great songs, I like them when they get in their bag. And this seems like J. Cole was just in the studio, in his bag, just like pen to pad, rapping, and like putting some songs together. And to even your point, I'm actually pretty surprised it even had this much cohesion, to be honest, because it had mixtape vibes. You know what I mean? Like sometimes mixtape, you just throwing your best songs together in a way. So I like it personally from that standpoint. Now, when you're stacking it up to his albums, it's like, you know, obviously I don't think it stacks up to Born Center 2014, right? Just off of rip. But I mean, I think it's definitely KOD level. Like I think that I could honestly make an argument that this is some of the best rapping he's ever done, like on a full project. And then to top it all off, I mean, to have the features on there and you know, obviously J. Cole being the guy that doesn't, you know, is being heralded for not doing features. I love, obviously, he did the track list trick where nobody would hear. But if there was only one way J. Cole could get features on here, and he had to do the track list trick. It's J. Cole. He can't just put, you know what I'm saying? Like he can't just put, because when you hear 21 Savage for the first time, or you hear a Lil Baby for the first time, you're like, yo, that's crazy. Because my first thought is like, I'm not even thinking about their verse. I'm just thinking about, wow, he actually put somebody on the album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First, and then it's like, oh, these people are actually fire. Like it's not just because of their names. Like both of their verses were really good. So
Yeah.
I just think that over time, this is going to be something that this, like with J. Cole over time, you know, he'll have a solid body of work that I don't think the offseason you're going to be like, when you think of J. Cole, the offseason is going to come to your head. But like, it's going to be one of those, like, you know, Jay-Z's got a few albums like that where it's like, okay, like the Black Album or stuff. Some albums that you don't necessarily think of first or second, but like it's slept on. And I think it's going to be something that's really good. So that's kind of my overall opinion on it. I know, Trey, you have some thoughts on it in terms of like how it stacks up to his other works, or you were just mentioning Drake. So,
again, like I said, comparably to his other works, I think it's not better than KOD to me. And I'm not saying that KOD was great, but I really did like it, and I thought you know, it had a more of more of a studio kind of sound to it, where it wasn't kind of so mixtape. You could tell that it was an actual album that he took a lot of time to craft along with his producers and his engineering department. And I think so I think that gives it a bump. Back to 2014 real quick. I'm just gonna rest in the opinions of others, and I understand that that is a well-received album. So I'm gonna say it like this. I don't think it's better than that album. Like I said, I have my own personal opinions about the album.
You think 2014 is better? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I understand that that's the broader perception.
Okay.
Me personally, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of 2014. I don't even think I have it on my phone. I don't listen to it.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, that's my personal opinion. I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. We already almost got down there earlier.
No, I just wait. Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
So
yeah, go ahead.
You think that like where you ranking 2014 and like in correlation to Cole's albums?
And hold on, before you even answer that question, Hakeem, just to give you perspective, this is the same guy that does not like. I know you guys have issues about Chance the Rapper and The Big Day, and I don't know how Trey views Coloring Book, but he's also on that same type of vibe too. So if that counts for something.
Oh yeah, I didn't like Chance last album. I thought it was trash.
But you like Coloring Book, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trey, do you consider Coloring Book great or just good, or what do you? Because we got to get into the deeper conversation.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think great is? Because that's kind of what I'm getting.
Let's get into the deeper topic. Because that was the next one.
Yeah. So what do you consider? So I'll tee it up for you. So what do you consider great? I know we'll talk about what your classics albums are in a second, but what do you consider great? And Hakeem, I kick it to you. I'll ask after Trey as well, because like that, I think there's an important distinction between great, good, and okay. You know what I mean? Like I think those words are different. To me, they are.
So, no, to me they are too. And
go ahead.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm gonna answer that last question first. Back to Coloring Book, I think that was a good to great album. I don't know if I would quite say it was great, but if somebody wants to make an argument that it was great, I'm not gonna really, push back too much on it. Now, what makes a great album to me? Again, I know we've been hitting this the whole time, but it has to have some kind of cohesion.
Yeah.
It has to be kind of timeless. And what I mean by timeless is, Kanye West, Graduation. You can have your thoughts and opinions on Kanye, the man. But if you listen to Graduation, it still sounds good today.
Right.
Now, some of the beats, they might not have aged the best, but I mean, of course, it's been over 10, almost 15 years since the album came out. Of course, some of the beats are going to sound a little bit dated, but it's still aged well. Like, it's still an album you can listen to, you can bump to today. If I was playing that around my friends, they wouldn't say, "Hey, turn that to something else. That's too old." It's not it's not like listening to the Sugar Hill Gang, hip hop. No. It ages well.
I still love the Sugar Hill Gang, but it's whatever.
Well,
Go
okay,
ahead.
well, you on your own thing, but okay. I think also to be a great album, it has to have a unique sound. To me, a great album does something that no album was doing at that time. Like, let's say,
hold on, Trey. What are you talking about? Great? Or are you talking about classic? So
no.
Okay, yeah, because I needed that distinction. Okay,
no.
Okay,
so I'm talking about great.
Okay. So I'm interested to see what a classic is, because I feel like that's a very high criteria just for something to be great. But maybe your criteria is just that. I get it.
Okay, and the reason I say that, and I guess I can see where you're coming from with a classic, but a great. Okay, let me ask y'all this question. Like, how many great albums do you think come out a year? Like, when I say great, I'm like 10. Maybe
you think 10 great albums come out per year?
And I'm not talking about just like hip hop. I'm talking about like just in any genre. All
together. Oh yeah,
like 10 albums.
I'm sure there's more than 10 if it's just every genre. What do you think, Hakeem?
No, I'm saying 10.
So let's unbutton this. So for a great album, I think a great album is an album that has at the minimum like 4 songs that I can go and be like, I can go and listen to. I just at the minimum. When I'm saying like a great album,
only 4.
I'm gonna go with 4 because if you can go through and you could just like, you gave me like 4 good songs, like 4 great songs out of an album, I'm like, okay, that's great. I mean, Kanye West was dropping like, Kanye West and like Pusha T and Designer, like everybody was dropping like 7-track albums. Mm-hmm. So like I say that's more than half of those, and that's what people are looking for. At least give me at least 4 songs.
So I'm kind of looking for personally like a percentage, because like obviously that can change if you have 7 songs or like 15 songs. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm kind of like that too, more of like, but I'm a little different with them. Well, I think it's more of I'm actually the other way. I'm more of like skip value, right? Like what can I like not skip? Like what can I just listen to you straight through? Because I think a lot of albums have bangers. You know what I'm saying? But like, but then then you can get to the conversation of like, there's some lyrical albums, there's some like albums that are just bangers. Can those both be great? Probably yes. Depending on how you look on it too. So yeah, I can kind of see you there.
So that's I'm like, just give me a solid, like a solid 4 to 6. You give me 4 to 6, I'm like, that's a solid album. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a great album of that time. Like, and if we're diving into, are we diving into like the great versus classic?
Let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get it.
So let's get your foolishness out the way, because we obviously waste some time. We know what people's gonna even tune in for this for. So Trey, we had a discussion, and for those who haven't listened to it, I suggest you do, first off, and then second, Trey basically has stated that he was unsure, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Trey. Tell me if I'm misquoting.
Okay, I will. So go ahead.
You cut me off at any point if I'm misquoting you. Trey has said he was unsure if J. Cole or Drake, and I think maybe Kendrick Lamar, maybe not.
No, I didn't say Kendrick. I didn't say Kendrick.
Okay, so J. Cole and Drake, you were unsure if they have a classic album. I'm not saying that you said that they didn't. You said he was unsure.
And I stand by that.
Trey, I just want people to know, if you haven't listened to it, Trey has confirmed that he wasn't intoxicated when we recorded that. So that was one of the first things that we were actually taking a look at, just to kind of make sure we did kind of that stuff. Yeah. So apparently this was just him. So so you got to expand on that. Now, Trey, you've had time, you've had reaction.
Oh yeah.
You saying you stand on that?
No,
can you just give people shed a little light as to why?
Okay, and like I said, I'm not saying it's either yay or nay. The argument, I'm not going to fight too hard against them. I'm just saying I'm unsure. I think they've been close. Okay. But
I do have a question. When you're done.
Go ahead. Let's ask it right now.
Go ahead. Put it on the table.
Let's get to it.
What is a classic album for you? Like, I want to make sure, like, I understand. I'm gonna write down the criteria. That's what
so I know. So I know Trey's answer to this because he stated it. But Trey, when you answer that one, I also need to know. Well, like we need some examples so we can kind of see for that as well too.
I'm gonna try to put it like I'm just gonna try to keep it in one answer and try to put it in the simplest terms as I can.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
if I listen to this album 10 to 15 years from now, from the time I first listened to it, my feelings on the album are going to be the same. I'm still going to have that same euphoric feeling. If it's trying to hit like an emotional button, like if it's like a melancholy, sad album, I'm still going to feel that same way. If it's uplifting, happy album, I'm still going to feel that same way. It's aged appropriately. Like there's nothing crazy being said. Well, I'm like, I don't really agree with that anymore. Life changed. Like it's an album that really stands the test of time.
Okay,
that's the easiest, like simplest,
I think that's fair. I think both of us, Hakeem and I, probably agree with that sentiment. Yeah, we feel kind of the same ways. So let's get to nitty gritty. What in the world is a classic? Like, I need some examples, preferably if you have some, like in the recent era. I know we've talked about Tupac and Biggie. Like a lot of us can agree. We can agree. Ready to Die, All Eyes on Me. We can agree to some of those. So, what are some ones just so people can kind of get an idea?
Okay, I'm going Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, very fair.
That's
easy.
I think that's universally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Can I get? This is kind of the modern area. Outkast, Stankonia. Is that how you say it?
Stankonia. Yeah. I can give you Stankonia.
Yeah.
Sure. I love that album. Love that album.
I'm gonna go Kanye, The College Dropout.
Okay. Fair.
Okay. We there.
Does Kanye have more than one?
I'll put Graduation on there.
100%.
Hold on. See, I know Graduation kind of has the it kind of has mixed reviews as far as being a great album. I'll put it on there, but if you don't want to, give it to it, okay.
So you said Kanye West. So he's got two.
At least College Dropout.
I mean, because to be honest here, I know Kanye's got a big body of work, and we don't gotta go too deep in the Kanye bag. But most people kind of go with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's kind of that. Right. Like, just generally speaking, it's not my favorite Kanye album, but I'm saying, like, I hear that a lot. And just because of how it was produced sonically and everything, and we can go into details, the features, all of that.
Yeah, we can go into details. I'm not going to, stress them too much, but it did have a different sound. Like, it had a unique sound. It had aged well. A lot of the music you hear today kind of takes off portions of the album, like different things they did. So yeah, if you want to get that to it, I'm willing to go for it.
If you can talk about age well, technically the College Dropout didn't age well because Kanye's sentiments aren't the same. If you want to be fair, does that matter? I'm going to say,
sometimes the artists, and I don't want to go too far in that, but sometimes the artists, they'll look at something and they'll be like, well, I don't feel that way anymore. So they might have their own opinions on it. And no, not the Kanye, but yeah.
Okay, I got you. We don't have to go into the Kanye bag, but yeah, I got you. Yeah. Okay, so any other examples off the top of your head?
And I want to pull out one. And again, like I said, I know this kind of contradicts what I said earlier. I'm not sure if Drake has one, but this is one I wanted to discuss with you guys because I wanted to get your opinions on it. I think So Far Gone could possibly be a classic mixtape / album just because of how unique the sound was, and it set the template for everything you hear today. I don't care what anybody says. It set the template. It set the template for Drake's career. It set the template for like Travis Scott, any Kid Cudi, like any of these artists you hear today. They took a lot of sound. Like, they bit a lot of sound off of this album. Now, I don't know if it's a class. I would kind of make the argument it's a classic, but I know a lot of people don't like that argument. Then they want to say, well, it's a mixtape too, so how can it be a classic album? So
you're saying it's a classic mixtape, classic album, classic mixtape. You're specifying it.
Yeah, but he almost won a Grammy off of that thing. I know he's put that on one of his songs one time, but I think if Drake has a classic album, I think that's it.
I just don't. If you want to chime in, Hakeem, at any point, that's fine. But I just don't see how. Because for one, sorry, let me back up real quick. You said Kendrick Lamar. You said Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
What about Damn? What about To Pimp a Butterfly? None of those are even. Because Damn won a Nobel Peace Prize, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like. I don't know what other criteria you really need. Like, this is like
when I went to Good Kid, Mad City. I just thought it was timeless, but also the reason I put it over Damn is because it just had more hits, so I knew it was more generally well known than Damn was. Damn was big in the hip hop community. Good Kid, Mad City, it broke a lot of boundaries. You heard it on video games, you heard it on TV commercials. You heard it at frat parties, but people didn't look like
so did Damn.
Facts.
Yeah, but not to that degree.
What?
Bro, I will say
DNA. What's the other one?
But not to the degree. Good Kid, Mad City. No. Go ahead.
No, Trey. Love that. I mean, I don't. Go ahead, man. Because
Well, one, I'm gonna say two things. I put Damn over Good Kid, Mad City, but I will say like the impact of Good Kid, Mad City was like crazy. I remember it was like a college, we came in together. What's the word I'm looking for?
College party
conference. No, the conference, and legit a professor came and like broke down Good Kid, Mad City to like the like.
Oh, I remember that. I think I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You remember that? So like to that level that you have like college professors coming down and breaking down a hip hop album, and to like kind of motivate and guide college students. I think that's just like a remarkable feat that I've never seen nothing like that. Like,
okay.
So in that regard, I think it's like amazing.
And see, I'm thankful that you brought that up because that's what I'm trying to get at. I think it just had a bigger cultural impact than Damn. I mean, me personally, I prefer Damn. But again, I'm just looking at a wider audience too when I say that.
Okay, so like, speaking of a cultural impact, let me just turn this real quick. Does Lil Wayne have a classic album or a project? Are you serious?
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out real quick with the Lil Wayne issue. Lil Wayne.
I already know it's gonna be an issue because you said. I already know it's gonna be an issue. I already know it's gonna be an issue because you said little, not Lil. So I already know it's gonna be an issue. Hell. So go ahead.
Like the issue to me, like that little issue is, he has classic albums for our demographic, but I think in order for it to be a classic album, it really has to hit the wider audience. And now Lil Wayne had songs that hit the wider audience, but his mixtapes, like you're looking at the Droughts and the Carter series. Those albums really resonated with a certain group of people we can align ourselves with, like just Black youth.
Okay,
but
so
I'm not sure if it went above and beyond that.
I think we just kind of hit something here finally. So your view of a classic album is if it hits everyone.
Yeah,
my view of a classic album is I'm just concerned if you're hitting the demographic that you're going for as a whole. Not just and I shouldn't say that because you can just hit your demographic, but like if it's generally recognized for, let's just call it hip hop fans. Whether you listen to Lil Wayne or not listen to Lil Wayne, if the Carter 3, for example, if you can all agree on that, or obviously it's like all subjective, right? I mean, so obviously everyone's not going to agree, and it doesn't really matter. But for lack of a better term, that's kind of what I'm looking at, and because I'm not thinking about, because let's be honest here, Taylor Swift is just not going to hit a certain demographic. But does that mean some of her albums aren't classic?
You know what I'm saying? I think you can make the argument that
and just because you hear, and my other point to that is, just because you may hear the Taylor Swift song on the radio doesn't mean it's a classic to me because it hit the radio, and that means it like got to it got to more people because it's on the radio, but it doesn't mean it's going to hit my demographic or something just because, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let me say it like this, and I'm not using sports reference because obviously this is more geared towards a sports podcast. My mom does not watch basketball at all. She doesn't know who anybody is, but she knows who Michael Jordan is. She knew who Kobe Bryant was. She knew who LeBron James is. That doesn't mean she likes them. That doesn't mean she knows anything about their game, but they just resonated with such a large audience that they're beyond the sport of basketball. I think that's what a classic album does. Like Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? I've never listened to that fully. I just haven't, but I know what it is. I still know it's a classic. The Beatles, Abbey Road. I never even really gave the Beatles, a second thought. I've listened to a couple of their songs I like, but I never listened to their album. But I still wouldn't be sitting here and saying, oh, that's not a classic album. Prince and Purple Rain. You don't have to like anything that Prince does, but still, you know what Purple Rain is. You've heard it in contemporary music. I mean, you've heard it, just when people are speaking, that's a classic album without even having to listen to it. I think that's my opinion of a classic album.
See, the thing I feel about it is, it's like, I think there's just too many factors involved when it comes to that, because it's like some albums just don't get necessarily the commercial push, right? Some albums just don't necessarily get the love that it should have gotten. Like, just because, like, we can talk about sports all day. There's a bunch of great players that are just not, you don't hear about, that are not as pushed as some other guys that we hear about just as much, just because of they don't have as much, like endorsements. They don't have as much of commercial push like I reached about before. Like, I just think when you include some of those factors, I just think it makes it like kind of hard to be like, because you're talking about everybody knows Kobe Bryant, right? But your mom might know Kobe Bryant, but she might not know Tracy McGrady. But like, it's Tracy McGrady. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when you get it kind of gets hard. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
just quick question. So your mama knows Stankonia is what you're telling me?
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Yeah, there
Hold
you
on,
go.
hold on. Let me tell you. She knows a
Because I
couple
know
of
what
songs
album
off of it. Don't play around now.
she knows
Miss
what?
Jackson. She knows Miss
Yeah, she knows
Jackson.
Miss Jackson. Come on.
What
Okay,
other
so
song she know off Stankonia?
So fresh, so clean. She done heard it at least a couple
Okay.
times.
Yeah, I give you that. Yeah.
Miss
if
Jackson.
if anything,
what?
your mom, if anything, your mom knows the other one, Speaker Box, The Love Below. Because I know she knows Hey Y'all.
Yeah.
I know she knows Hey Y'all.
Yeah.
I know she
Yeah,
knows,
she knows it. Hey, yeah.
Roses or whatever. Like, come
Yeah,
on, like
I give you that.
I give you that. I give you
anything.
that. I give you that. But I'm just saying, she knows a couple off Stankonia too. But yeah, Speaker Box, Love Blow. Yeah, you can go with that one too.
See, okay, but here's my point. I want to stay on that real quick. So
Okay.
your mom is gonna know is maybe we can view Stankonia in this example as a classic album because she knows the 2 songs off of that, right? The 2 bangers.
Yeah.
But your mom only knows those 2 bangers because they got pushed commercially and they were on the radio and they were everywhere she probably went. But what if the rest of the album, like the rest of the album actually matters? Like the rest of the album's got to be a really good and again,
And it does.
Stankonia is not a great example because I think personally haven't listened to it a bunch of times. I like the entire album, but I'm saying like I just like I can't really wait. So I guess my thing is I don't really weigh the singles as big of a deal because it's like you can have a few bangers on the album and then the rest of the album just be like, oh, okay, it's like whatever. Like I think the actual whole body of work matters. And just because Stankonia has 2 songs that your mom knows that is universal, that doesn't make it a classic album.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm not saying the rest of the album doesn't matter. I'm just saying that's part of the criteria. Like those 2 songs that she knows, okay, that's part of the criteria. But then it's up to somebody else to listen to the whole album and say in fully, okay, I can agree this album is good, not just those 2 songs. That's just part of the criteria. The 2 songs, let's just use that example. That's like 20% of the criteria. So if you don't have an album, it should still be good. It could just be a B.
So okay,
quick question:
does the other songs in the album have to be great or just good?
At least really good, really good. Not necessarily great, but really good.
Okay, all right. I think I'm going great for that, but yeah.
See, I wouldn't say great.
So because like when Hakeem and I talked about 2014 Forest Hills Drive, I mean Hakeem, you correct me if I'm wrong. There's not like one song necessarily going to just be on the radio. You know what I'm saying? But like I just think like how many songs are on the album? Like what, 12, 13? Like I think you have like 9 songs that are legitimately great.
Stankonia had 20 plus. So I mean,
right?
Is that
what percentage
against it?
A percentage. Asking. I'm just saying a percentage because obviously there's different album track lists. So I'm just more saying a percentage of it. So I mean,
at least 80% of it has to be really good. At least 80.
Okay. I mean 80 to be I don't know, man. Because I just think how many skips could you really be allowed for an album to be a classic album?
I say 1 normally, but if it's like a 20 album and 20 plus song album,
I say 3
like
or 4.
Yeah, I say 2. I'm really, like I said, my criteria is stringent, and I understand that.
Because then you can go. Because I'm thinking even like modern day, like if you're talking about Lil Uzi's 21 Savage, like do they have classics? Because we've now been probably at least 5 or so years removed from some of their projects. I mean, do they have classics? I'm sure they're.
See, but I think you can make an argument that it's great. It was great for the time, but classic. To me, like the one main criteria for a classic is it still has to maintain some kind of relevance years down the line. So are you still going to listen to Lil Uzi or like those? Oh, that's what I'm getting.
That's why I agree with you. So like for me, let's talk about great albums. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm putting like a great album. I'm putting Chief Keef Finally Rich, right? Because I remember in 2012 that was all I listened to, and that's where I was in space and time.
Yeah.
And I like from top to bottom I could listen to it now. Does it still evoke the same like drill? And it changed the culture. It brought drill music. Without Chief Keef, there's no Lil Durk. There's no like there's King Von out. Like it changed the culture. So I think it's a great album for its time. But am I still listening to Chief Keef? Like I listen to Understand Me featuring Young Jeezy or 300? No, I'm not. Like it changed. But like I said, am I still listening like to Drake? Am I still listening to So Far Gone? I can play So Far Gone. And a kickback and everybody's still singing along. Well, I could still do the same thing for Chief Keef, but it's not going to hit the same. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
It's going to be in their feelings if I play So Far Gone and I'm over here playing like a little bit. Everybody starts singing, they're going to be in their feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so question. So, I mean, how far, do we have to be removed for like something to be considered maybe? Because like, I mean, I can think about things like, I think Astroworld dropped in 2018 for Travis Scott.
Yeah.
That's probably a classic.
Yeah, I think
You
it
know,
would
and
be.
I can go with that. But I think it's nice that we
And I'm not
got
even a
5
Travis
years.
Scott fan like that, but I mean,
It was a
every song on
phenomenal
there
album.
is like
Like,
tough.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
phenomenal
Yeah.
album.
So, and
So
what are we?
that's a good
3
question.
years? Like,
I
I
think
think
so,
five
that's
because I
yeah.
think 5 really gets.
Afterworld was really good.
because
It
I'm trying to
really is
think off the top
good.
of my head, what's dropped in the last few years that you
So
can be
yeah,
like,
I was gonna ask like, Lil Baby, my turn. We gonna
oh,
like
perfect,
it.
perfect example. Lil Baby's the hottest rapper out.
Yeah.
So Hakeem just but brought up a great point. So who is like? Does he already have a classic? Do we know? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Because like,
I don't. Yeah, I
I
would say
wouldn't
like
say he
it's the
has a
same thing
classic.
with Chief Keef because I was like, if you would have asked me in 2012, I think Finally Rich was a classic, I'd have said yeah, and I would listen to it nonstop. But if you ask me right now, I'll say My Turn is a classic. I listen to it every day in the gym, every single day. But doesn't mean it's gonna like 10 years from now I'm gonna be listening to it,
so
probably. But
yeah.
I don't know.
So what I'm hearing is we gotta wait and see,
Mm-hmm.
right? For a majority of this, like I just don't think there's like very few things that can drop and be like, you know, that's a classic. But I want to actually turn it to a different way here because I kind of feel similarly when people, you know, like people had a big deal about like certain verses, right? So, you know, we like some of the verses we talk about historically, like, you know, we talk about Kendrick Lamar's Control verse, right? Like this is a good example of everyone right away thought it was a huge deal and like a great verse. And we could probably still say that it stood the test of time now, right? But people
Yeah,
were saying that at the moment. How do we know when verses are great? So my example
that's
is
facts.
so like my example is what's the song name Drake just dropped with Lil Baby? I always forget the track name.
Is it what? Not what's next?
I always
Oh, they
forget
gotta
the
look it up.
yeah, I know the song, but I always forget it, which tells you I haven't even listened to it a bunch, which is kind of whatever. So
Oh,
someone
Wants and Needs,
Wants and Needs, thank you. Someone got her name. So everyone's like, that's Lil Baby's greatest verse. That's the one right there. That's the one. I said, okay. So I take a step back. I'm like, okay, I know we're all excited because the two biggest artists in the rap game have just collaborated again, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. So I want to defer this to maybe somebody else is more of a Lil Baby fan. I like Lil Baby a lot for sure, but like his music doesn't invoke like the same like feeling out of me that it does from some other guys. So like when I heard his verse, and I was with Hakeem when I heard the verse, and I was just like, I'm like, am I missing something? Because like I think this verse is good, but like I feel like I've heard better Lil Baby verses. Like, and maybe I'm thinking about it in terms of like how he flows on the beat and more of that stuff. Maybe the lyrics are just not hitting me. Fine. But like I feel that way. And then similarly relating it, circling back to the J. Cole album, I know Hakeem, you were like J. Cole, Lil Baby had the best verse on the album. I listened to the album. I think Lil Baby's verse is excellent. I just don't think I don't know if you were saying he's got the best verse out of the two guest features, or you were just saying he's got the best verse of like anything J. Cole put out there. But because I think that J. Cole had some bars in there that's better than any of theirs. And I also just like 21 Savage's verse better. And I don't even know if it's necessarily because of the lyrics. I just think necessarily maybe how the lyrics made me feel and just maybe how it sounded. So like, I don't know how we kind of judge that. Like, that's actually like a legitimate question I have because how do we just know this verse is like, now the verse could be fire right away, right? But how do we know it's like a classic verse?
So I remember, I remember where I was. Like I remember the feeling I felt when I heard like Nicki Minaj Monster verse. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that I remember like the feeling I had when I heard Kendrick Control. I remember like Once and Needs. I remember I heard Lil Baby. I was like, I started over. I was in my car. I started. I said, I got to hear this again.
Yeah.
I feel like that's that like that feeling you get when you hear that like that verse. You're like, whoa, hold up, what they got going on here, man? Let me play this back one more time.
Yeah.
And then like if you're going and you're just trying to hear that like that specific verse like that, like you're going through the song like, oh yeah, Lil Baby about to float, she about to float, or Two Chainz and Monster. You're like, oh yeah, man, 2 Chainz about to, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's where you're like, all right, but
or 2 Chainz in Mercy.
Oh, I'm sorry, I said TJ Monster.
Yeah.
2 Chainz and Mercy. I apologize. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you get that like that feeling like, oh man, they about to float. They about to float. That's why I said like that's like a.
And when I hear the word float,
classic
I'm
verse.
thinking like how they are on the beat and everything. And then I think sometimes lyrics are secondary in certain. I don't know if I change it. I don't know if I change it because of like who it is. Because like certain artists, I'm looking for certain lyrics. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like
sometimes
some
lyrics
people
is second.
Yeah,
So
I
what did
think
2 Chainz
that's
really
fair.
say? Like, what did 2 Chainz really say?
But hold on, I
Yeah.
got a question for both of y'all real quick.
Yeah, catch up to my camp. I mean, okay, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Cooper Color mayonnaise on drunk high at the same time. Like, what did he really
Hey,
say? Like,
that verse is fire. Fire. I don't care what nobody's ever gonna tell me that verse is not fire. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah.
does a classic album though? Does it have to have a classic verse? Because I'm thinking like I'm just looking like my favorite artist is Tupac. I don't think he has any classic verses. Like,
I think classic punchlines. I think classic
Yeah.
punchlines matter. I think when I think of, okay, if I'd say 2014 Forest Hills Drive, most people are gonna say, "Rest in peace, Uncle Phil." For real, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna give me
For real.
something.
Or get off my
Yeah, like you're gonna kind of give me something like, even if it's the chorus that hits you. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I mean, it could. I just think that like you got to
okay,
have something that you can hold on to. But to answer your question directly, Trey, I don't think it's got to be like the whole verse got to be like a classic verse. Because like we can talk about, okay, so if Hakeem says his favorite J. Cole album is 2014 Forest Hills Drive, he may, if you look at his Koto discography, your favorite J. Cole verse might be from KOD. You know what I'm saying? Or something like, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? It could, just because it's not your
legit.
favorite.
That like "Love Yours" is my favorite song on 2014.
Right.
Like, and that probably not. It may not like, that's where I was time and space. And I needed that song in my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's why I put that verse or that album that song and just the whole body of work so high on my discography of albums I like, just because that's kind of what I needed at that time, and kind of I feel like what I still need at that time.
Yeah. And it's just interesting to kind of like figure it out. And then obviously all of us have, some different opinions on it. So I just wanted to see, Trey, you shed a little bit more light onto what a classic is. At least we got some examples now. You're clearly still wilding about the Drake thing. I mean, Drake and J. Cole clearly have
he did say
classics.
"So Far Gone." Like he did put "So Far Gone."
No,
like,
yeah,
so
you did. But I just think, and that's okay if one of your classics is like not what like the general public is gonna consider, because like I feel like the general public is like Nothing Was the Same, Take Care, right? Like one of those.
Yeah, mine's
just
just
fine.
so just completely different. Than
Right.
everybody.
So at least we could just, because I think those guys are so great that they have. I'm still the damn thing to me is the only one I hold on to, and I'm like, I think we got to circle back to that. But
I can see what he's saying with the Good Kid, Mad City. Though.
Yeah,
I agree.
So I do agree with that. However, I do want to change gears one more time here. Hakeem, you're not escaping. I know you made some comments about Wale in comparison to J. Cole, and if you thought I was going to forget about that, there's no way that I was going to forget about that. So I'm gonna. You know what? I'll do this. I won't even tee it up. I'm gonna let you have the floor, and at least I want people to hear this from your mouth, so I'm not even misquoting.
Okay.
You. And then we can go from there.
This is what I'm saying, right? Like I said, J. Cole make a layup, and we just heard how much I put J. Cole on the pedestal. So I don't want no like the J. Cole
don't
fans
preface it. Don't preface
I'm
it.
saying,
No. I'm saying. Do not preface it. Go ahead and say what you gotta say.
Okay, I'm gonna go at it. Like I think that maybe this is saying just how slept on I think Wale is. But you put up J. Cole's albums, man. And I don't want to hear no numbers. I don't want to hear no numbers.
Fine.
You put up J. Cole's albums. And you put Wale's albums. There's no like J. Cole, even like 2014.
There's no what. There's no what. Sorry, I'm sorry. Because it sounded like it was breaking up here. There's no what.
There's like you not like I don't like I'm trying to make sure I'm not crazy.
No, don't make sure. You see him, Trey? You see him, Trey? Don't make sure. Don't make sure.
There's nothing that's like he's not like stunting on Wale, nothing crazy. It's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Like I was just making sure I wasn't cursing.
I'll ask you directly.
But is he better than Wale? Let me ask you that.
Okay,
I think he's slightly better than Wale, and that's slightly? I think he's slightly better than Wale. Yes.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's pause it right there. Better. We talking about just skills?
Well, skills, a body of music. I think Wale has put like just great music. Same as Cole put great music, but Wale gets no credit.
Okay, so
he gets what?
So I agree, Wale is slept on, and I'm a Wale fan. So I hate that Wale's got to get smoked from me.
It's cool
because I literally do not want to hear. I don't want to hear Wale crying on another interview that he doesn't get the respect when he drops albums, when he's waiting this long to drop albums, and they're just mediocre projects. So what I will say is,
so J. Cole didn't do that.
Jake, okay. So let me just get into it. So I think skill wise, I agree. I mean, Wale, you know, is crazy. Like, right. So he's fire. I'm not saying it like that. But when you're talking about songs, body of works, it's not close. Like, and it's not close. And I know that you made the comparison to Shine in the offseason. Obviously, you've kind of like said the offseason's better now. So we don't have to do that part of it. But I'm saying there's just no way that some of the, like, okay, if we're going singles, for sure. We can go back and Wally's got some real life, really, really good singles. And of course, I'll go with you there. But I'm talking about full albums, body of work. It just doesn't stand the test of time like what Swim Bees. Now, I think Wale made his comeback with the last album that he dropped.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I love that album. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying, like,
yeah,
when you're talking about like Shine and what was before Shine? What am I missing?
Was it Gifted or let me see.
I think Gifted was good. But so Gifted was really good. So I'm really mainly just talking about the space of time when whatever he dropped before Shine, and he didn't drop anything for a while. Then we waited for that long and we dropped Shine. And
yeah, I believe it was Gifted and then Shine.
Okay,
or let me make sure.
So we waited at least. I mean, you'll probably look at it, but at least 2 years. We probably waited for that. And so it's like you waited for that long, and it's like he missed his window. Similar to Big Sean, you know, you kind of miss your window there with like when you were in a category with Drake. You know, I think they're all in the same. So Drake, J. Cole, Big Sean, Wale, right? You know, they're kind of like all there. Kendrick, and then like those three guys kind of left you in a way. Just for whatever reasons, guys have personal things going on. But then when you drop a project, it's just mediocre. Like Big Sean did the same thing with I Decided. It's like we can't wait that long, and then you dropped I Decided. Like I decided not to listen to it anymore. Like that's how good it was.
That's fair.
So like
so you're pretty much saying like if you're gonna wait that long, you got to drop some flames. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's the same thing. I understand the criticism when we gave Jake Old with the For Your Eyes Only. I think it was unfair criticism. I think the album stands the test of time and is a little bit better than people realize. But like I get it. I get it when you're like, okay, like you waited that long and that's what we got. Now, however, you notice that nobody said that when we waited that long and we got KOD because KOD was actually really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we waited that long, but it's got to be worth the wait. You did not listen to Shine and be like, yo, that was worth the wait. You like, I like it, but like this isn't worth like waiting this long.
So it was 2 years. I just checked. So the album About Nothing came out, and then 2 years later, Wale dropped Shine, which, like I said, people don't like Shine, but like. So I'm just gonna name some songs. I'm gonna name some songs. All right.
So you're gonna name songs off of Shine?
Of Shine.
Okay. What I want people to do at this portion of the podcast is pause it, and you're gonna have to Google these songs because you've never heard of them because no one listens to this album. That's what I want people to do. But go ahead.
That's not true. You're not gonna have to Google any songs because everyone's heard Running Back, right?
Trey, have you heard Running Back?
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my. Okay.
I haven't Wale hasn't been on my radar since like 2015, 2016.
Thank you.
Like I'm not trying to knock him, like he just hasn't been on my radar.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So maybe Trey's okay. I'm a Wale fan. All right, I'm just gonna throw him out. You got Running Back. You got My Love, which is a phenomenal song.
My Love's great. My Love's a great song.
You have Fish and Grits, phenomenal song.
No, that's not a phenomenal song. Oh, that is not a phenomenal song.
Okay. I'll take it. Heaven on Earth. Come on now.
It's not a phenomenal song. Just because that's Chris Brown and it does not make it phenomenal. Just like that week, No Guidance with Drake, that was weak. Like, and I'm still on that.
And then My PYT, that's 5 songs.
My PYT's fine.
By my criteria, that's a great album.
Okay, so
what's that?
Okay, so one, you're a Wale fan, so it's hard, and so am I. But like, what project does that even compare to? Like J. Cole, any project that he has pales in comparison. Like that no. Like would just what project does J. Cole have? Kendrick Lamar have that like would even you can't even put that next to that.
Yeah, it's better than For Your Eyes. Easy.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
For Your Eyes.
That's a joke. But even okay, I'll give you that. What about any Drake, any Kendrick?
No, I put them on levels higher than J. Cole.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I put Drake and Kendrick over J. Cole. Yeah.
Jake and Kendrick are above J. Cole.
Yeah, I'll stand on that. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's crazy. That's crazy. In what way?
I think Drake sits on the pedestal by himself. Like I think so. Like I don't want to hear no like Drake versus anyone. It's Drake versus Drake.
Okay.
And then I'll put.
How is Kendrick above J. Cole?
I mean, like I ain't had no class professor talk to me about no class professor taught me about no KOD. or no board center.
So literally because a professor hasn't talked to you about you're not even in college anymore. That's not our fault. Like what does that got to do with anything? They could be teaching the off season right now. How would you know?
Hey, they're not bringing up Revenge of the Dreamers, man.
You don't know that.
They're not bringing up Drake though.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. They're not bringing up Drake.
That's fair, but can we all agree that Drake's in a level of his own? Like Drake is competing with Drake. Can we agree with that?
No, I mean he's on a level. Hold on. He's on a level of his own as far as public perception, like as far as name recognition and whatnot.
Okay,
but as far
I'll take that.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's generally
And we can agree. Like I don't think Drake is like killing him on lyrics, but I don't think Lil Baby's killing people on lyrics. But it just is what it is. He's like he's the baby goat.
Yeah, he popping. It's his time.
So I have a little bit, and I know we're running over time here, but I got a little bit of hesitation of. I know everybody's like Lil Baby's next. I got a little hesitation. So okay. I'm kind of like the guy where I'm kind of like Trey, how you have a stranglehold on like classic albums. I have a stranglehold on like the pedestal. Like I'm just not like about to be giving up the throne. Like I don't, when people are just like, they're just literally like, okay, this person's next. I'm like, nah, I gotta see because we just went over Lil Baby. I don't know if he has a classic, and I know there hasn't been a lot of time that's passed. So I mean, to be fair, I'll be fair about that. But like, who's to say somebody else that hasn't even come up yet isn't next? Now maybe and also is Lil Baby a product? Funny. And it's also just real quick, is Lil Baby a product of? I mean, to be fair, I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to the rap game currently, but there's not a lot of people out there. Like, I think the game is I don't want to say weak, but it's not like there's not a bunch of heavy hitters. There's like a few big heavy hitters, and then there's like a big drop off to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can start off, Trey.
I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I'm gonna be real cautious when I say something like that because remember, and Nas, I think in 2006, he put out Hip Hop Is Dead.
Yeah.
But then after that, you see J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, even Wale, let's go there, Big Sean, like all these other artists come back. Yeah, and they kind of prove that hip hop is not dead. So I'm not gonna really say that the game is dead or weak or anything of that nature.
Oh, okay. So it's not dead. I shouldn't.
Yeah, but I think it's just a generational guy. That's what I'm getting at. I think we could say it's weak because we don't see any more 30-year-old hip hop artists coming up. But that's because all the hip hop artists that are really big that are 30, they came up 10 years ago when we were in high school. Our time is kind of gone now.
Yeah, who are the ones that's coming up next? Like, who is challenging from Throne besides Lil Baby? Off the top of your head.
I'm going Lil Baby, Roddy Ricch, but that's just me. I'm a big Melody fan. Like, but I don't think I think Lil Baby is on he over new rappers. It's not. I don't think it's close, man. You get Lil Baby features. It's like getting a Drake feature.
And maybe 21, maybe 21, maybe.
But I'm talking about to have that crossover that Trey is talking about, like that Lil Wayne Drake crossover where like everyone listens to them, everyone knows. Like we know them, but like I'm just saying, like there's only a few names I can think of, and you probably name those guys, and I'm like, I don't feel like the game's at a great place if I can only think of two names off the top of my head. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know anybody else that's like literally crossover. Like I don't want to hear Lil Durk or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I'm gonna say this much: you probably not in the game. Like you're not in high school, so you're not listening to SoundCloud. All
That's facts.
Like yeah, we aging out. I know it's hard to believe it because we only 25, 26, but we aging out the game.
Yeah, let's be our people that's not listening to Drake, that's not listening to Cole, like they still listening to freaking DMX and Jay-Z
and Nas.
You know what I'm saying? And Nas. So like, I didn't grow up listening to him. So like,
because I'm not with the young boy. What is his name? What I sound old even saying it. Like because I'm not in that era, I guess I'm just out of touch with. Because I don't know.
Possibly.
I wouldn't say out of I wouldn't say out of touch. Well, yeah, I guess out of touch. You're just out of the loop.
Things hit you different. Like remember what I was talking about with Love Yours? Like when I was in college, and you're like, oh yeah, love that. That hit you different,
Yeah.
So like now, what young boy Never Broke Again, Mr. Never Broke Again is saying, like, that's not hitting you. Like I actually don't even know what he's saying. So,
I don't. I was going to say, hold on. I don't even want to be that person, but
they used to say the same thing about Lil Wayne. Older people used to say the same thing about Lil Wayne. We was coming. Oh, I don't know what he's saying. He ain't talking about that. So I'm just saying
that's true.
That's just the same sentiment. It's always been there. We just aging out.
Wow, but I was going to say back to your original comment, Nolan. I remember what you were saying about like Lil Baby. Like I don't know yet. That's exactly what people were saying about Drake. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember Drake had dropped his album? They were like, I don't know about that Drake yet. I'm telling you.
But
I remember that.
You know what I don't know? I can tell you what I know. when Lil Baby starts like being like talked about to perform at a Super Bowl, when he's like making all these songs with like these like I don't know what's the correct word, with all these like pop artists and things like that, when he's like on a bunch of different TV commercials and like, you know, like that's when I know. Maybe he just hasn't hit that point yet. So maybe to me, I just don't see it. Also, I'm talking about commercials. Like I don't watch regular cable TV.
I mean, like Lil Yachty was on a Target commercial. Like I don't.
No, but I mean that matters. Like, you know what I mean? That matters to cross over to everyone. Like in the way, obviously, like you don't see Lil Baby. He's still like, you know, he's still like the next generation's guy, but also like he's still just like the hip hop guy. Like I don't like. He's not doing songs with Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift or something that I know of. I mean, shoot, they could be in the lab right now. But from what I know, from what I've already heard. So I guess for me, I'm just like, I haven't seen any of that yet. And a lot of those guys, I don't see that happening. Like, I don't see Roddy Ricch doing that. I don't see, and maybe we just haven't seen, maybe it's an effort on both people's ends to go reach out and do that. I don't know. Maybe it's just like, they don't really care to, and they can have the same success without that. Like, there's a lot of factors into it. So I don't know. I'm really, you know, interested to see, and I want to progress this conversation there. So, obviously, we kind of ran over time here, but I think this was a quality conversation. We got through all the foolishness that we needed to get through. I'm interested to see everybody's thoughts. Obviously, Trey walked back some comments, so you know we'll see what the reaction is there. You know, obviously, Hakeem, we want to thank you so much for joining us. I mean, this was great.
Thank you.
To having you on, man. We definitely want to bring you back. I'm sure that we'll have some light commentary, I should say, about some of the things that we've talked about. I'm sure we'll definitely find a way to edit your Wale clip to make it sound like you said he's the best rapper alive. So,
and, hey, the funny thing is, I'll stand on that too, man.
I'd certainly hope not. I'd certainly hope
I'll stand on it, man. Wale's the most underrated rapper of our generation. And I'll stand on that.
No, I stand by Big Sean being the most underrated, but we're not gonna go there.
Keep wrapping
it up. Keep wrapping it up.
Well, I think my only point is, I think when you're underrated, sometimes you're underrated for a reason. Like I don't want to hear you crying if you don't drop albums. So
I don't like the crying thing, but he flames, man. Like,
and you know that's fair. Yeah, no, definitely, man. Thank you for joining us. You know,
just let me know when y'all want me back on, man. And I'll make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely, Trey. You know, it's a pleasure like usual. You know, we want to thank everyone for obviously tuning in like always, like and subscribe. This was a special episode. We'll definitely take a look at the feedback here. If you know, this is something that the people are asking for. You know, I know we get into a lot of sports and the nitty gritty, but you know, we like to keep it light sometimes and you know, drop something special for you guys. So we'll drop this weekend. You know, we're heading into the NBA playoffs. So in between that, we hope everyone gives it a listen. So I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you. Can't thank you enough. And please, of course, like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms. And stay tuned for some updates. Peace.